Hey folks, I am Laszlo and this is GitOps as a means of distribution. I'm a consultant, I operate mainly in the EU Nordics region, and I'm also bootstrapping an open source project called gimlet-io, and you can find me on Twitter. What you can see on the screen is a simplistic view on a GitOps loop. Up in orange, you can have the GitOps repository with the Kubernetes manifests, YAML files, and the Helm releases, and so on. And in the bottom, you can see a Kubernetes cluster with Flux installed as a GitOps controller. So this talk is about the GitOps repository. So it's not about the tooling itself, but what's inside that repository. And you may wonder whether it's about the structure, how to organize the folders and how many GitOps repos should you have. There's plenty of discussion ongoing right now in the community about that. This talk is not about that. What then? Instead, this talk is about the tools inside the GitOps repository and the fact that all those tools combined give you your complete cluster environment, a full stack with the observability tools, with the network routing tools, with the policy tools and everything. And the beautiful core principle of GitOps that with a single kubectl apply, you can bring everything up and running. I can only compare this experience to my first time using Docker Compose. It was a mesmerizing experience that out of nothing, I created everything. And this is kind of what I feel every time I bootstrap a new environment with GitOps. Or in the unlucky situation of if there is a disaster recovery scenario or just preparation for it. It's just a great thing to bootstrap everything just by a single apply. And I'm a consultant. What I mainly do is I'm essentially delivering GitOps repositories with handcrafted little YAMLs inside. And, sometimes I'm joking with myself that I'm like a YAML artist, like I'm delivering artisan YAMLs. Every client has a little different requirement, so I make it hand tailored for them. I'm a consultant, so I naturally think about productivity and how can I speed things up, maybe even productize things a little bit. And I was thinking, like, how can I make maybe ready-made stacks? And, if I have those stacks, cannot just everyone else have those stacks? Because that would be so cool. Last summer, a little service born out of this thinking called oneclickinfra.com, which is an experiment where the promise was if you provide a Git repository, you link up your GitHub, and you choose your components, the logging pieces, the ingress component, metrics, everything, then I deliver a complete environment into your Git repository, Flux included, meaning it's a self-contained, automated environment. I wasn't alone with this idea, by the way. Many other people started distributing their best practices in the form of Git repositories, like in the Raspberry Pi community in this project that you can see on the screen. And also, my buddy Steve Wade from the UK, who's also a consultant, also started sharing best practices as a form of Git repositories. I just want to give a shout out to Steve. Thank you, Steve, because we planned this talk originally together. After all, he couldn't make it. But anyways, thank you, Steve. And what I'm seeing in the community is an emerging pattern that people start using GitOps as distributing a complete stack or cluster environments with their peers and communities. And I was thinking, like, what's next in this movement? I was thinking, like, taking this pattern forward one more step, maybe making a tool that is not just able to share just one stack, like Laszlo's almighty stack, but maybe other people's best practices as well. And, kind of like a marketplace, because marketplaces are good to get started on cloud providers, but they fall short on the second day of operations. Like, how do you update the installed components? How do you automate things? And I think this is where GitOps actually shines. All those core principles GitOps has make it a perfect medium to distribute stacks. And, I'm taking oneclickinfra.com, this little service, into an open source tool, which is going to be a CLI, and you can deliver stacks with it. You basically deliver GitOps repositories to your friends, peers, clients. And it's a project on gimlet-io/Gimlet Stack. And, if you're a consultant or agency, or you are part of a home lab community, I think GitOps is really a good way to distribute those automated stacks. And I think you should continue doing that practice through Git repositories, but if you're interested, you should come and join into the Gimlet Stack project and make a tool that can function as a marketplace that you can take it with you. So thank you. I was Laszlo, and this was GitOps as a means of distribution.